So Derek Chauvin's lawyer just filed a motion for a new trial. A motion that will fail. It will be denied by Judge Cahill. Why? Well, one reason is because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So as we all know, Derek Chauvin stands convicted of murdering George Floyd. Now he has yet to be sentenced, but now his defense attorney, Eric Nelson, has filed a motion for a new trial with Judge Cahill. I would call it a kitchen sink motion. In a motion that is barely 3.5 pages long, defense attorney Nelson alleges that there were about a dozen or more errors made by the judge, by the prosecutors, by the jury, and these errors warrant a new trial right now for Derek Chauvin. Let me not bury the lead. This new trial motion will be rejected. It will fail. It will be denied by Judge Cahill, and we'll talk about why that is in a moment. But let me just give you a flavor of some of the things defense attorney Nelson is claiming. You know, he's claiming, among other things, that the judge was wrong when he refused to move the trial from one location to another, a change of venue. He was wrong by not shielding the jury better from publicity. He was wrong by not sequestering the jury. The prosecutors were wrong. They engaged in misconduct by disparaging the defense and failing to adequately prepare their witnesses. He alleges the court was wrong by ruling that Maurice Hall didn't have to testify. He says the judge was wrong because he failed to adequately advise the jury of the elements of the crimes. He says the judge was wrong by allowing the prosecution to present cumulative evidence on the use of force. And he catalogs a number of other alleged errors. He says the judge was wrong, the prosecutors were wrong, the jury was wrong. All due respect to defense attorney Eric Nelson, Nelson is the one who is wrong on all of these counts, and there will be no new trial granted by Judge Cahill. Let's talk about why that is. First of all, these new trial motions, these kitchen sink motions that are made after a jury's verdict but before a defendant is sentenced, are pretty common. Why do defense attorneys file them? The main reason is because if you don't raise an issue during the trial proper, even in this new trial motion, you can't raise it on appeal. You are deemed to have waived it on appeal and you can never raise that issue. So that's why defense attorneys will often, and I'm not faulting them for this, they will often make these motions with tons and tons of issues that they know are losing issues because they want to preserve their ability to raise them on appeal if they think they might get some traction with the appellate court judges. So that is the main reason, I believe, defense attorney Eric Nelson is throwing all of this stuff into the mix. What would it take for Judge Cahill to grant the defense motion for a new trial? Here's what it would take. All of those issues that I just ran through, all of those issues were raised and litigated and rejected by Judge Cahill during the trial. So there was really no need for defense attorney Nelson to re-raise them in a motion for a new trial, but he did it anyway. But for Judge Cahill to now order a new trial based on this motion, here's what Judge Cahill would have to conclude. He would have to decide that he, Judge Cahill, abused his discretion when he was resolving these very issues during the course of the trial. He would have to say, you know what? I was completely wrong in the way I resolved all those issues, so I'm going to grant the defendant's motion for a new trial. Folks, that ain't happening. Primarily, it's not going to happen because Judge Cahill resolved these issues correctly, properly, appropriately during the course of the trial. So, this new trial motion, in my opinion, is much ado about nothing. There's another issue that's bubbling up a little bit. There's been some reporting about one of the jurors who sat and who obviously voted to convict Derek Chauvin because it had to be a unanimous verdict. All 12 jurors had to vote to convict. One of those jurors has given an interview, and then the media has dug up some social media posts where this juror was seen in a Black Lives Matter shirt, and he attended an anniversary march or rally celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s, I think, the 57th anniversary of his March on Washington. And then there's been some reporting that that same juror said, well, he never attended a Black Lives Matter rally or a police brutality rally. I think that's some of the questioning during voir dire. And people are saying, oh, might this undermine the jury's verdict? Because it seems like there may be some inconsistencies between what this juror said during jury selection and maybe one of his social media posts. Let me set everybody's mind at ease. Once a jury has returned its verdict, the jury deliberations and the jury service enjoys what we call a veil of secrecy. Ordinarily, once a jury returns its verdict, you can't go out and start interviewing the jurors to try to find ways to undermine their verdict. You are, because if you could, can you imagine what that would engender? After a verdict had been returned, defense teams would run out and try to interview all of the juries and get them to say something inconsistent, and then relitigate the case all over again, trying to get a new trial. That's why jury service, jury deliberations enjoys a veil of secrecy. Now, you can pierce the veil. And the most common way you can pierce the veil is if there's evidence of outside influence of the jury. Here's what I mean by that, and I've seen cases like this in my time as a prosecutor. If somebody was sitting as a juror and during the trial, some outside actor bribed the juror to return one verdict or another, that would be considered outside influence that could have impacted the verdict. Short of those sort of dramatic circumstances, the fact that there may be this sort of chatter about inconsistent statements by jurors, that is extremely unlikely to get any traction as an issue that could undermine the jury's verdict. So I suspect that all of these allegations by Eric Nelson will fall flat, will be rejected by Judge Cahill, and Judge Cahill will proceed to sentencing Derek Chauvin for the crimes that he's been convicted of. And let me just say, one of the reasons I don't believe this new trial motion will be successful is because for these crimes against George Floyd, at least as it pertains to Derek Chauvin, the other 3 officers will be tried in the future, I believe in August. But for these crimes, justice is already in the books. And justice matters. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.